No, actually, I just you can just look at this image and say, well, how does this work on a flat Earth? How about that?
Oh, no worries. Well, the bottoms of the buildings have got a reduced angular size based on their distance. A limited angle can cause things to disappear. It's called the diffraction limit. Is that a good enough explanation? Sorry, you just going to laugh? Or are you going to in any way challenge my explanation, which is absolutely factually accurate? Or maybe you'll just rumpus me. Maybe you'll laugh and rumpus. You asked a question. I gave an answer. It took me about 5 seconds. You couldn't help interrupting. You're not ready for this, Tim. Just go back to one of the rooms that lets you spout fundamentalist shit.
Okay, rhetoric. Yeah. So what is the diffraction limit, Nathan?
Yeah, the point that you have interference, that you can no longer resolve the image. The point that it disappears with distance.
What's the equation for that?
I haven't got the slightest idea.
There's a 2-hour-long video explaining it.
Radians equals 1.22 times the wavelength of light over the diameter of the aperture.
There you go.
There you go.
So does aperture make things less obstructed or more obstructed?
No, you can calculate the diffraction limit based on the aperture. I'd just like to point out at this stage that none of this is included when you give a feet and inches value, even though we're looking at this picture through an aperture.
Okay, that's great.
No, it's not great, because the actual effect is called Earth curve, Tim. Yeah, we have a diffraction limit. It's a fact. You can calculate it based on the aperture of the camera. It's a point that things will disappear in the distance, and the limited angle would be what you calculated for something at distance. Now, when you give a whole number, an actual size in feet and inches, it ignores... Oh, we're not looking at your pictures no more, Tim. Oh, that's a shame.
I'm going to grab some drone video, actually.
Oh, we're going to look at some foreshortening effects, are we? We're done with this subject.
Oh, no, it's foreshortening.
We're done with this subject then, about how the feet and inches value doesn't account for the fact that the optical equipment used has a diffraction limit calculable in the Rayleigh criterion, and that is a cause of things disappearing with distance. That's ignored. Oh, you're going to rumpus the shit out of me right at the conclusion. What coward? You're just not ready for this, Tim. Go to your fundy groups. Go to a Church of Globe.
Why is this guy doing this?
Because you keep interrupting when I get to the conclusion, Tim. When I point out that the whole numbers, the actual sizes, feet and inches or meters, doesn't change with distance, but in reality, the angle can become too small and then be calculable at the diffraction limit with the Rayleigh criterion just given to you by Zach. Now, you can rumpus me like you are now, but ultimately speaking, Tim, even though you're talking over the point, it just makes it clear you're not ready for this. Your religion's too tightly held. Now, that's not my problem. You just have to rumpus me when I make the point really concisely.
Yeah. The normal rhetoric, okay. So
it's not rhetoric. Perspective, diffraction limit, calculable, listed based on the aperture. These aren't rhetorics. These are facts.
So does height have anything to do with the Rayleigh criterion?
Tim, you're increasing your angle.
Sorry, height is an actual size, Tim. Are you dense? Did you not just listen? Height, would that be measured in feet and inches, perchance? Or meters?
I'm saying that when you change height, you get observations like this. This is 30
I already addressed this. I said yes, so we're going to move on to foreshortening effects, are we? We are done with the Rayleigh criterion. We're done with the fact that objects disappear with distance based on their angular size, and now we're going to move on to foreshortening effects. So we're done with this, are we, Tim? No concession, no acknowledgement of your fundy belief that substitutes angular size, apparent size, the size that things look at distance, with actual size, feet and inches, what you'll plug in the curves math so you can ignore the effect of the Rayleigh criteria. Well, you can ignore it, but that would be your fundamentalist belief in a substitution of perspective with Earth curve, Tim. Now, you'd have to like that. You can rumpus me every time I get to the conclusion, but it just shows to the audience that you're a fundamentalist zealot that can't accept anything that flies in the face of your religion.
This guy is fucked in the head, man. Hey, can I talk to flat earthers or no?
Yeah, that's me. The Earth is obviously and observably flat. The only assertion of Earth curve from the ground requires the observer to exclude the effects of perspective, including that objects disappear with distance at the diffraction limit, calculable in the Rayleigh criterion. This is all fact, Tim.
Okay,
You don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. You can keep talking about feet and inches and how many feet will be missing, right? You don't have to like it, Tim. This is real. This is the world we live in. It's flat. I'm a flat earther.
Okay, so can I actually talk to real flat earthers for a moment?
Yeah, me. Yeah, the only assertion of Earth curve comes with the hijacking of perspective. The Earth is obviously unobservably flat, but things do get smaller with distance. Their feet and inches value, however, stays the same at all distances.
Can other people talk besides you for a moment, please?
So hand wave dismissal to every one of my arguments. Quick, someone else save me. Talk to me, someone else. Nathan's
they're trying
taking
to
apart
talk
my
and you-
religion. Someone else talk to me.
This is embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Riley.
Why? You know when you've got the drone up at its highest elevation, just go back to a point where it's higher rather than lower. Do you have any explanation for why there's not a reflection of the sun at the horizon and it's only in the middle ground?
No, I don't know why.
Surely it should reflect all the way up to the horizon if it's a ball.
So what's interesting with this is that Antonio Subrats came on my channel, said the same thing, Pete Shea, and basically this is demonstrating obviously with altitude, which he's not taking into effect in any of his excuses. It actually changes how much you can see of something that's 37 miles away. This Strong's knob here, that little peak that goes up, that's 37
Because you're
miles.
increasing your angle, Tim. You're increasing your angle to your target so you can see it. So your camera can distinguish each light rays coming out. When it's at the bottom, the angle is so narrow that those light waves interfere with each other and the pixels just jumble up and they just show, one and two pixels become one.
Yeah.
So
As
when
you-
you're going
correct.
up,
So- and
you're
on, that was epic.
increasing your angle, so you get to see more because
Correct.
your camera can resolve.
Hey,
That's
good
it.
times for all. I would actually like to talk to you sometime. I can show you a lot of observations and stuff. We can go through this without this this clown here.
What are you talking about? It just made a really excellent example. As you increase in elevation, you widen your angle. Again, we're back to talking about angles. What a shock. So it's all about the angles that we're seeing, and you're increasing that angle, and therefore widening the angle
So it's not
would
the Rayleigh
increase.
criterion.
It's just your religion, Tim. Don't worry about it. Go away and worship R. You can either listen to the explanation, and I'm going to concisely summarise what Anonmoto has so beautifully pointed out. You're opening up the angle as you rise, decreasing the angle as you lower, and that means that the angle becomes more limited and the diffraction limit comes sooner. Simple. All about the angle, Tim.
You can do that with a ball and a long hallway. You increase your angle, you increase the angle of your camera, the ball, the little tiny golf ball becomes visible at the end of the hallway. There's nothing to do with curve, Tim. Come on. Don't be a fundamentalist yourself.